Alright, so this is my soapstone / analysis of my annotations for Adriana's monologue in The Comedy of Errors, Act 5, Scene 1, starting at line 140. Alright, so Adriana is the wife of Antipholus, who is from a pair of twins where they're both named Antipholus. Another sense of irony that Shakespeare liked to add to make this play more comedic. So she's the wife of Antipholus from Syracuse. Another one is from Ephesus. And so the speaker right now is very confused as well as frustrated at her husband. And this is all her addressing the Duke. So when she says Grace, she's talking to the Duke, which I'll explain later. So the most outrageous fit. It's almost saying how, like, inconvenient this is for her and everyone around them, which it is, but the issue is that she's describing about a man she doesn't even know, so it's also ironic. So the Duke and the Abbess are her audience during this time. Skipping around just a little bit. As you can tell, she addresses the Duke. So I say Duke, comma, and the Abbess because the Duke is the main one she's addressing. The Abbess is there and also addressed, but not really spoken to. And there's other people, such as like an executioner and just fellow peers among this situation too. So their setting is they are outside the Abbey, which that's why Lady Abbess is there. And they're in the middle of this busy street, which that's because they've been running around all day trying to catch each other. So the purpose of her monologue is to retrieve her crazy estranged husband, like quotation marks on the husband because it's not actually hers. And she's basically pleading with the Duke for his support on helping her catch him. And it's also pleading the Duke to have the Lady Abbess send them over to her, or at least let her in to grab them since they escaped. On the backside, our subject basically, so for this entire play, is to show the confusion that comes from these twins. The entire play is about irony. It's about all these situations where people are complaining about what one another did when they're not actually talking about the right person. They're talking about someone else, but they don't know that, but this and this and that. And it's also ironic that the twins, who you would assume be like the closest people on earth because they look exactly alike, don't even know that each other are like right next to each other, that they're living like in the present, like just down the street from each other. So when talking about the tone, she's very accusatory, frustrated, impatient, confused. She's all these things, she's all these emotions. And you can see that with him using words like fury or rushing or strong, broke, mad, passion. Like there's all these like strong emotional words to describe the situation, which also shows how she feels about it, because this is all from her perspective. It's not about the people she's chasing, because the people she's chasing have a completely different perspective. And then so for the devices used, I've already explained the irony behind all this, but doing displeasure to all citizens, that's also ironic because she's thinking he's terrorizing people he knows when actually he's someone who's being bombarded by all these people that he's never seen before, nor does he know, that are talking to him, that are asking all these questions, that are pulling him left and right. Imagery, she's obviously describing the scene to just get to make more of a pleading case with Duke. So strong escape, passion, swords, describing all these fighting, and then symbolism. So they fled into this abbey. The abbey opened their gates to them, but the abbey shuts the gates on them. So these set of twins, which two separate because one is Antipholus, the first set of twins, the other is Dromio, the other set of twins. So they fled into the church, and the church let them in. When the abbess shut the gates on, I'm going to say the estranged wife, because she doesn't know what's going on at all, and if she would calm down, they could have explained. And I also said symbolism, because when the Lady Abbess is introduced, because most people associate the church with, like, healing, with kind of clarity, and when she's introduced, the whole situation gets cleared up. So I figure that to be some sort of symbolism, because he could have chose any other place for these set of twins to run, but he chose church. And yeah, that's my analysis of Adriana's monologue. May it please your grace, Antipholus, my husband, whom I made lord of me and all I had, at your important letters this ill day, a most outrageous fit of madness took him. That desperately he hurried through the street with him, his bondman, all mad as he, doing displeasure to the citizens by rushing into their houses, bearing thence rings, jewels, and anything his rage did like. Once I did get him bound and sent him home, whilst to take orders for the wrongs I went, that here and there his fury had committed. Anon I wot not what strong escape. He broke from those that had the guard of him, and with his mad attendant and himself, each with an earful passion, with drawn swords, met us again, and madly bent on us, chased us away till raising of more aid. When we came again to bind them, then they fled into this abbey, whither we pursued them, and here the abbess shuts the gates on us, and will not suffer us to fetch him out, nor send him forth, that we may bear him hence. Therefore, most gracious Duke, with thy command, let him be brought forth and borne hence for help.